On this week's episode, I am joined by Brandon from the California hardcore band Slumpt. We talk about his past projects, getting hooked up and going on multiple tours with the band Hoods, and booking shows for the IE with Ceasefire Productions. Slumpt is on their way out to Europe for a tour with Manifestation, and they will have a new full length on the way. I really appreciate Brandon for bailing me out while Kyle was out of town. So now, let's open this pit up. What's up, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pit Therapy Podcast with me, Trevor. Kyle is out of town, so I am super grateful. Brandon from Slumpt hit me up and said, dude, I'll hop on the pod with you, and you're bailing me out this week. So I appreciate it, man.
Not a problem, man. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, we were just talking a little bit before. You just got back from a quick 3-day run with Low Sight, right?
Yeah, man. We went, did Central California, Reno, and hit Las Vegas over the weekend.
Listen, bro, I just looked it up. It's less than a 6-hour drive. You could have came up to Utah. I'm just saying, man, it could have happened.
Yep. I'm just testing my guys, give them a little bit longer drive, seeing how they're doing. We'll come out there.
Okay. So you guys have been playing for how long now? How long have you guys been doing Slumpt?
Almost 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what kind of little tours have you done to this point?
We've hit Arizona a few times. We've gone up to Stockton. We played with Hoods and Brick by Brick. We've done Vegas a few times. And then a bunch of SoCal runs because that's where we're from. So Then besides that, the only crazy one we have coming up is Europe. So that should be.
I've been following you for a minute now. That looks awesome. So you're headed out there with Manifestation, right? They're playing with you guys. How did you guys get hooked up on that show or that tour?
So before Slumpt, I toured for 10 years in a band called Set Your Anchor. We toured with Hoods, probably 10 or 12 times, just all around the country. Went to Mexico, did all kinds of crazy stuff with all of them. And during that time, we got hooked up with Manifestation through one of the drummers through Hoods, which he's actually Eddie. I believe he throws that Northwest Hardcore Fest.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So I forget, Black Force Energy is his band now. So he hooked us up with his friends from Germany. He said, hey, man, I have some friends coming out from Germany, and they really need a band to go on tour with. So I was like, yeah, man, I'll take them out for however long they need to go, and then we'll make it happen. So we were hooked up with the Artery Foundation at the time, and their booking agent was representing us, and he threw a tour together with those guys and a band called Fever War.
Nice.
From West Virginia, I want to say. So
okay.
A little U.S. West Coast run before, and I hit them up when I had a new project, see how they were doing, and I've always had this crazy idea that I need to go play in Europe. So I was like, you know what, let's do a split, and then we'll just see what happens from there. So they're like, okay, cool, because they were on a label. They had to make sure they can clear it, do a release without their label, and be all right. And they're like, yeah, man, we're totally down for it. Let's do it. So I just took on the whole project and made it happen. Got John Mayo to do the artwork for it. And right afterwards, they're like, well, you guys need to come to Europe. We need to do a tour. So I was like, all right, cool. Let's do it.
Dude, that's awesome. So the EP, like nails to a coffin. I've been blasting it for the last 3 days since you and I have started talking again. I listened to it. I hit you up. I don't know if this is when we got connected because I saw some videos on TikTok floating around of you guys playing down in Arizona. There's the one that you guys have on there where there's the fireworks and the kids jumping over it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that was the first video I saw of you guys. But then you hit up, or you were on the Walking Blind podcast. We're big fans of that. And you were talking about this split. So when I caught that episode, I started listening to this. And dude, it's awesome. Your couple songs are fantastic.
Appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. So no, that's super dope. You mentioned touring with Hoods a bunch at the beginning. Dude,
Yeah.
how did you get hooked up with hoods?
So there's one of my friends used to do a thing called corrupted booking down here. So they used to throw like Tough Love Fest and all that kind of stuff. So he was one of my real good friends, still is to this day. He plays in a band called Out of Chaos now. So he was just like, "Hey man, I got a show on a Tuesday. It's for a tour support for this band Hoods from Sacramento. I need somebody to come play it." He's like, "They need support," and nobody would agree to this weekday show. And it was a backyard in Hemet. So I don't know if you know anything about Hemet, but Hemet is like a small, super like run down but like low income house, like San
Yeah.
Bernardino from. So we're like, okay, cool. So we went to play a house show with hoods in a detached garage, and we just hooked up with those guys, started chilling with them. I'm a huge stoner. They ended up being a huge stoner. So obviously, I was like, "Hey, man, you guys want to smoke?" And ever since then, we've been cool. Like we've done so much ridiculous stuff. After that show, they were like, "Okay, these kids are cool. We're taking them on tour." And we've done full U.S. runs with them. We've done all kinds of stuff. I'm actually in a band with the guitar player from Hoods, and we're in Arcline together. And I
Yeah.
play guitar for him, so it's cool.
Nice. I was going to actually ask you about that. Is Arcline still going out to Germany too? You had mentioned that on the pod.
No, he's actually not going to make it out on that one because he's already on tour with Hoods. The timing,
Mm,
it got double booked and basically it didn't get messed up right. So hopefully we make some cool connections and get to take him out on the next one.
I gotcha. I gotcha. That Hoods tour right now with Southpaw, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah,
again, like you guys are just skipping over Utah. Come through, man.
right.
Like, you guys all gotta come through.
Yeah, we used to play Idaho all the time too, Pocatello, like
Yeah,
nonstop. And then we used to play Logan a lot
right.
at Y Sound. So that was what I remember. We never really got into like Salt Lake City too much.
You know, you got to come through Salt Lake. The scene's really cool right now. It's we went through a little bit of a lull. So I grew up in like the 2005 to 2009 range. Like that was like my heyday, right? When we were going to shows like 2, 3 times a week and everything along those lines. Graduated, went to college. I lived up in Logan for a few years. And I feel like during that time, there was a little bit of a downtrend there. But right now, the scene is just popping off again. Solid bands are popping up. The scene's coming back, younger kids coming through. It's really cool right now.
Yeah. I'm seeing that in, like Oklahoma a lot too. Texas, like everywhere's popping off, really.
Dude, it's crazy. So one of the things that we do on this podcast is we try to find like we call them local bands, right? But they're just like lesser known to us because they typically within their own scenes are actually pretty dang big and like they're pretty well supported and stuff,
Yeah.
but all over the place right now. Obviously Jersey's always been like a hot spot for like this type of music and stuff like that, but Jersey, their scene is really cool right now. Birmingham, Alabama, where Furnace Fest is. Obviously, they're a super solid scene, but there are some awesome bands out there. You just mentioned, Texas and Oklahoma, all that stuff. It's really cool right now. So the scene's thriving.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we can be a part of it right now because I stepped away for a few years and didn't play music. And it seems like it came back right at the right time. So it's awesome.
So I was going to ask you about that. You were in like a massive touring band, well, a touring band, right? Where you were going on these full US runs, all of that kind of stuff. What's it like just to be like, I got to step away and take some time for myself?
Um, I thought it was like exactly what I needed. I was just run down and burnt out. We were doing like 32-day tours and then having like a week or two break and then going right back out. And we were supposed to go to Europe and Canada. There was a lot planned like when we dropped out. So I was just too overwhelmed at the time and I didn't know how to manage anything in my life to where I can make it all work. And it was just like a massive downfall for me. So I was like, you know what? I think music is what's causing it all. I'm going to step away. Figured out that wasn't the problem at all. So I was like,
I got you.
now I'm really depressed that I don't have music. I was kept writing and playing the whole time. I have like EPs of different genres, all kinds of random stuff. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to what I love playing. And as soon as I did, it was like, man, I picked up right where I left off, and it's just ridiculous. Like it just won't stop, and I love it.
I gotcha. So when did you guys wrap up Set Your Anchor?
I want to say it was 2018.
Okay.
So
And so I was listening to Set Your Anchor as well. So were you the vocals on for the Hopeless EP, or when did you join?
I was still from the start. I was just the guitar player.
Oh, okay.
So I pulled the whole comeback kid thing where the guitar player becomes a singer. And that was just out of pure necessity, man. We just kept going through vocalists. And I was like, man, this is ridiculous. I was like, well, I know I'm not going to quit. And then I ended up quitting. So,
Is what it is, right? So um well, I had another question written down, but since you were there from the beginning, it doesn't make sense anymore. So I'm gonna skip over that. But this question's been going around social medias, and it's one that I've been thinking a lot about the last couple of weeks. But the question is, what got you into hardcore? Because like no one just gets into hardcore. You know what I mean? It's a pretty aggressive genre to just like step into, unless you're like older brothers or something like that helping you into it.
yeah. So for me, I mean, honestly, I grew up on like 80s metal with my dad. And it went to like new metal because, Limp Bizkit and Korn was huge at the time. And can't resist that when you're 7. So it would just kind of like progress and got heavier and heavier and heavier. And then when I was about 11 or 12, I went and seen Ozfest. And
Okay.
that was just the perfect mix of metal and hardcore. Like the side stage was always insane. You see the most random stuff like Hatebreed, Killswitch Engage, Black Dahlia Murder. It was the weirdest mix, but every band just hit. It was amazing. You see Walls of Jericho, Bury Your Dead. I was like, well, that's it. That's what I want to do. I went to the first Ozfest. For me, it was like 2005, I want to say,
Okay.
maybe 2004. But ever since then, I just seen all the bands on stage, and I was like, "Yep, that's what I want to do." I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know what I'm going to do to get there, but that's what I want to do.
Sick. So did you grow up then in California?
Yeah, I've been in San Bernardino all my life.
Oh, okay. So what was like your first like other than like the big Ozfest and stuff like that, what was like your first like local show that you went to, or you got like a taste of the local IE scene?
So for me, let me see. I started going to backyard shows. Honestly, that's where most of the stuff was because I came in right after the Showcase Theater closed down. I didn't get to go in that whole generation. So if I wanted to go see something, I had to go to Chain Reaction, which is like 45 to 2 hour drive, depending on how great traffic is. Or I would go to Pomona to the Glass House. And I seen bands, I don't know, like honestly, like Walls of Jericho was really cool seeing them. But the bands like locally that I seen that really did like, that got me into the whole genre and style was like Darasum. I don't know if you know who they are, but they're a band from Riverside, and they've been around for ah, it's got to be 15 years or more now. But they're a killer band, and the vocalist, I love his stage presence, his style, the way they write, just everything is just fast and in your face. I was like, okay, that's cool as fuck. I need to go see that.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, right now, like that, I feel like Slumped is fast. It's in your face. Like, dude, you guys are killing it with that stuff. So that's super sick. And then you're currently doing Ceasefire Productions, right? Or you're helping with that?
Yep, I'm part of that too. So we throw shows, book tours, and take care of whatever we need to. Really, if somebody needs a show coming through, like especially smaller bands like our size, always help them out, jump on, support, and try to get them as many people as we can. And then for the bands in our area, usually that want to go out, if nobody else will take them on tour, we'll either take them ourselves, or we'll just go ahead and book whatever we can for them.
Oh, sick. So who's doing that with you? It's you and who else?
David, the guy that used to be in Corrupted Booking, and then now
Okay.
Chaos. So he runs this. He started it, and then we actually started talking. I was throwing shows just under Slump, just because DIY till I die. If nobody's going to put me on something, I'll throw a show myself. I don't care. Um, and he was like, you know what? Like, let's stop competing and throwing shows against each other, and just join forces. Like, all
That's
right.
sick. Yeah, no, why not, right? So, how
He,
do you keep up with Oh, go for it, sorry.
I was gonna say he booked bands like Evergreen Terrace, Sworn Enemy, 2x4, just wild bands. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go with anybody, why not that dude?
Yeah, dude. That's awesome. So, how do you guys keep up with, like, the new bands coming out of IE?
Um, Honestly, it's just we try to look for new bands all the time because we want new bands to play, and I want new people to be on shows. I don't want the same lineup to be played every single time because it gets stale real quick, and nobody wants to go see the same shows. So what we usually do is either see what like local high school shows are even going on because there's a ton of bands coming out of there, or we'll just go on social media and see what pops up. I've found a ton of bands through there, even in a local area I didn't know about.
Is it a lot of, like, bands reaching out to you, though, as well, knowing that you're just part of Ceasefire?
We get emails and messages constantly all day. And if we ever put like, oh, looking for a band for this, we'll get like inundated with too many requests or replies. And I'm like, man, I didn't even get to read like half of these because we got replied to like over 100 times for one show. And I'm like, that's so hard to keep up with.
Sure. Do you ever, like, feel like you get, like, music burnout?
Oh, 100%. I'm trying not to do that with Slump. That's why we're not doing those crazy 1 month tours back to back, and trying to do it as easy as I can right now.
Like, I feel like, especially since we started this pod, I get like new music burnout. So number one, like for you being in a band, I could only imagine like I don't know, I get kind of bored with like my same stuff over and over kind of thing. So it's cool that it's like your music and stuff, but I could imagine being on like a 5 or 6 day show and being maybe a little bit over some of the songs. Do you get like that kind of feeling? Or like what does that feel like?
No, so I'm like the main songwriter for Slumped. I wrote like the guitars, bass. I programmed drums, and then my drummer went over and just went super hard on it, made it way better than I did. But I kept in mind like I got tired of playing a couple songs and Set Your Anchor. So I'm gonna make songs that I'm not gonna get bored of, or like I can make them
Okay.
to where they'll change up. It's like I got music ADD sometimes, and I'll be like, okay, 20 seconds of this, never play that again, move on to this part, and I'm like, okay, sometimes I got to chill out. But it's always fun and exciting, and I feel like all the guys make me improve so I can do it better each time, so it's like something new.
Okay. I gotcha.
But definitely
So
bands, I could see that because it's unfortunate, like I'll call it like the local band curse, to where like one band will be really popular or three bands will be really popular, and every single band at that time sounds like that. Like
yeah.
for a while, like Gideon, everyone sounded like Gideon. Everybody sounds like Kubla Khan. Everybody sounds like Tsunami. Everybody sounds like Peeling Flesh, and it's like, okay, I get it, but try your own thing. Like branch out. Like what can you do? I get they did that, but I want to see like new music evolve and like new genres come out. And like I don't want people to be able to like, oh well, this is that, so I don't like it. It's like
Sure.
just listen to it and enjoy it.
No, for real. So, like, when you're getting into those, like, I don't want to call them copycat bands, but copycat bands, right? More or less. Uh, and you just like start to get overwhelmed. What are like, what's some of the music that you just go back to? What's like your like comfort music that you listen to?
Uh, any album by Comeback Kid is always like a top. I spin that on repeat all day long. I'll never get tired of it. Then I love like Verse, Have Heart, um, Close Your Eyes, just tons of like old, even like melodic hardcore. I'll just never get tired of because it's fast but still has melody, and a lot of those bands just are really good songwriters. So stuff gets stuck in your head, and even if you don't listen to it, I just got the melody stuck in my head or a part stuck, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
No, for sure. I had Comeback Kid on because you guys do your Wake the Dead cover. It's
Yeah,
freaking awesome, man.
yeah.
Dude, so my story with Wake the Dead is Victory Records used to always throw in the music video DVDs
Yep.
in the back of their thing. So I come from a pretty conservative family, right? So I used to have a little box TV with my PlayStation 2 on it that I'd play at night kind of thing. I'd
Yep.
wait until it was about midnight, turn that thing down until there was just like a 2 volume, and I'd pop in that DVD that I'd been hiding from my parents.
Yep.
And Victory Records, Comeback Kid, Wake the Dead, that was on there. Ringworm was on there. Darkest Hour, all of that kind of stuff.
They always blasted A Day to Remember too. I
I
went
think it
back.
was in a Day to Remember album actually.
See, I seen those guys when they were touring in like U-Haul and like a tiny car.
Oh, sick! Yeah,
The first time I seen them, there was like 19 people. It was awesome.
isn't that so weird? Isn't it so weird to like know that you've seen bands at like the very beginning and now they're playing stadiums?
It's insane. Can't even like comprehend it.
We were
Like,
just talking about the story so far, right?
yep,
Because they were just on that tour with the Day to Remember 4 Years Strong, and they announced their little amphitheater run, and
yeah,
I'm like, listen, like I love the story so far. But you guys just did it. I don't know if you're going to pull the same crowd, right? Go and do what you did for your album release show and go play 500 capacity venues. Let's
yeah,
get this thing rowdy. That's
yeah,
what we want.
yeah. I mean, I miss like all the stage dives, all the wild like antics, like the early 2000s kind of stuff. I want to see that again. But
Right.
there's always that giant horseshoe, so nobody can do it.
You know what? Sound and Fury has done a really good job at
Yeah,
building that like bottom level for like the stage divers and stuff like that. They've made a really cool stage. I think that like out of any fest I've seen recently where like stage diving can happen and stuff, Sound and Fury is killing it with that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah. They always have pretty wild lineups too.
Oh yeah, dude. It's freaking awesome. So we have what it's we have a group out here called Wild West Productions,
Yeah,
and they do Wild West Fest, and they just hooked up some bands from the LA area like Desmadre's rolling through. We've got like Gel and a few of those bands coming through. So it's a cool lineup this year in October.
yeah, that'd be cool as fuck.
Yeah, man. So outside of like music and stuff like that, are you like a movie guy, a TV guy? Like what
Uh,
other comforts do you have other than smoking and stuff?
I like to go shooting guns. I'll go like camping. I'll go to amusement parks, but I'll watch more like TV series over movies most of the time.
What's your go-tos?
Um, Man, I'm from the '90s, so I watch a lot of random stuff like Home Improvement, and I'll watch the Bernie Mac show. What else? Trailer Park Boys. I always watch that.
Oh, nice.
Um, then I'll watch something random like I don't know. Trying to think of the other series I watch.
My wife and I, we have like 5 comedies that we just like cycle through.
Yeah,
Like it's just at night, we're just hanging out or whatever. It's like Parks and Rec, finish that one, go on to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, finish that one, go back to The Office. So
yeah,
we watched them all like 7 times.
yeah. I do the same thing, and it's just back to back with different things. Or I'll try to watch something new, and I'll be like, "All right, this is cool," but that reminds me of this show, so I'll go watch this instead.
Right?
Yeah,
We're watching we just finished the first season of The Bear. That one's pretty sick.
That one's.
So,
I haven't seen the newest season, but the second one's good.
oh, we're going to go start the second season tonight. So, I'm excited. Like I've been hearing great things about it, so we finally kicked it on and like the first couple episodes are just so chaotic. Just
Yeah,
like screaming and yelling. Like we got done with like the first two episodes and my wife's like, "I don't know if I can do this."
intense.
And then by the end, she's like, okay, we're on to season two. So it
Yeah,
worked out.
yeah. No, it's good. It's super intense and stressful. But I used to work in a kitchen back in the day, so I get it. It's crazy. But
Oh,
have you seen Dope Sick?
no.
Okay, so that goes into like a little bit of conspiracy and like big pharma stuff. But
Okay.
that series, it's like 8 or 10 episodes, and it's amazing. Michael Keaton's in it, but it's really, really good. Like,
Okay.
you should question the whole pharmaceutical thing, how they get things passed. It deals with the Sackler family and OxyContin, and it's
Okay.
crazy. Uh, Definitely check that one out. I couldn't.
Netflix or what's that one on?
Hulu.
Oh, Hulu.
Yeah,
Okay. You said
yeah,
it's called Dope Sick?
yep,
Dude, I
yeah,
love Michael Keaton, so I'll watch that. That sounds awesome, actually.
yeah, yeah. It's so good, and it's one of the like I don't even remember his name, but he was in We're the Millers, like the kid.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I know who you're talking about. He
yeah, yeah.
got super. What superhero movie was he just in where he got super buff for it?
I don't know. I know what you're talking. Can't think of it either.
Man, that's terrible. I can't believe I can't think of what that is. But yeah, that kid was hilarious, being like the little weird nerd kind of thing in Meet the Millers or We're the Millers.
Yeah,
And then he got just ripped and
yeah,
it was insane.
yeah. And then he's a like a pharmaceutical salesman.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but he's like the young kid in the firm, and like a girl's like grooming him, trying to get him to be a salesman. It's wild. It's really wild.
Oh, cool. It was Guardians 3. He was in Guardians.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I just remembered. So,
Yeah, I
well,
seen
sick, man. What was that?
that, and I seen that one too. I can't believe I didn't remember that.
Yeah, it took me a minute. So he's painted gold. You don't remember him, so it's all good. Uh, so, what are some of the newer bands coming out of IE that people should kind of be keeping their eye on?
I mean, the one blowing up right now is Big Ass Truck.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so excited for that run. They're coming through Utah. I'm
Yeah,
super pumped on that. They're awesome.
yeah. Them, I would say like Darsum. They're still playing, putting out great music. I love that band. They're super sick. Then I love. Let me see. Who else would I say? I don't know. There's too many, man. There's all kinds of bands like Harsh Reality, Ishiki. Then Low Sight's not from the IE, but they're close enough. We'll call them family.
Okay.
If you like almost more thrashy hardcore, Split Image is really good. And those dudes are starting to tour and get out a little bit. Um,
Okay.
you like a little bit more melodic, Sunny is pretty good too.
Sick. I'll have to check out. I mean, I'll check out all of those kind of things, but I just pulled up Darsum, so I'll hit those guys up and I'll
Yeah,
listen to those guys for sure. But yeah, dude, Big Ass Truck, they're definitely kind of topping the list right now of like newer bands that I've seen recently that I'm just like, I want to go see you.
yeah.
So I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, the
Uh
bass player filled in for us for a show. So we actually chill with him every once in a while. He's in Desoectomy too.
oh, okay. Sick. So what are like how many like big shows still come through like the IE area or the Riverside area kind of thing? Because you guys have Glass House and a few venues like that. So, what are some of like the big bands that you want to go see right now if they were to roll through?
I mean, Tsunami's doing their tour in Riverside, so that'll be a good one. Got to go see that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like a lot of the bands I can kind of see around here. Unfortunately, it sucks because they're all from here. But I like more like the New York and East Coast kind of stuff going on. I want to see like Neverending Game come through on like the bigger tours over here. Never get to see anything like that. I want to see even like Brick by Brick come down this way or Sworn Enemy. That would be
Yeah.
cool, guys down that way. Um,
Yeah.
Even Death Before Dishonor, they haven't played down here in a long time, so that would be pretty cool to see those dudes. But
Dude.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if Agony is coming to the IE on their run. I know they're doing LA, but I'd want to see those dudes. They're killing it too.
How often do you wander out to LA to catch shows?
Not enough, because honestly, I get home like 6, 7 o'clock at work from work, and if I type anything in my GPS from my house to LA, it's like 2 or 3 hours. So everything is done by the time I get there. And then
Sure.
weekend traffic is so touchy too, man. So I get out there like only a few times a year, honestly.
I gotcha.
But
I gotcha.
I go more towards Pomona. That's a closer one for me. And I'm there like every month or every other month.
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So I want to make it out to Glass House. You guys just had Holy Name out there. They just came through and played a show. And every time I see the Glass House venue, I'm like, I want to get out and I want to catch a show out in that area. I haven't been out there.
It sounds so good. That was like my favorite venue growing up as a kid. And I got to play it twice. 100% my favorite stage I've ever played. It's giant and the sound's amazing. And then I know the staff, so they always hook everything up.
Dude, that's sweet. So you
Yeah.
mentioned that. What other like what other areas or states or whatever do you like enjoy playing in when you're out touring?
Uh, Honestly, I love going to eat a bunch of random food, so I like trying food from all different places. But the East Coast is on another level when it comes to food and shows. So I was just like, man, I get to eat pizza fries and go play with 25 to life. Like, what's better than that?
Dude, that's sick. We
Yeah.
have a band out here. They're called Sewn Shut, and same thing. The vocalist, he was just like, dude, I just want to go where I can have good food. Like
Yeah.
that's all I care about. The shows, yeah, they're fun, right? But if it's not good food, then it's not worth playing.
Yeah, but in all honesty, I find pretty good everywhere. I'm like a magician. If you give me a phone, I'll figure out somewhere good to eat. Like, I haven't picked a bad place yet.
I
So
gotcha.
but I want to hit like Colorado. I love the East Coast. I want to go to Utah, and I want to go play Idaho again. I haven't been there in forever. And then the Northwest is great too. We just haven't had a chance to get up there. It's a little rough in a weekend, but we could toughen up and just pull it.
Dude. The have you heard the band Reviler out of South Carolina?
No, I haven't.
You should check those guys out. They're on Upstate Records. Isn't that
Oh,
who put out Arcline?
yeah,
Yeah. So they're on Upstate. They were just in the Pacific Northwest and their shows looked wild.
yeah,
So that's another thing. Like, I feel so like I envy you for being able to tour and like see these different scenes and stuff like that because growing up in Utah, like it's all I know. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we had a good scene. Our scene always felt good to us, right? Like if we liked you, like it was always a fun show. It always popped off kind of thing. Um, but I never had the chance to like really go around and see what California shows are like, see what the Pacific Northwest is like, and I want to go and experience all that.
yeah. It's so fun, man. And honestly, it's like the worst addiction ever, and I can't stop doing it. It's
Yeah,
so just to stay home, and I'm like, I could be gone right now playing a show. It sounds a little bit better. And then I'm like, well, I can get to Arizona on a weekend drive. We could hit New Mexico. And there's so much around us. And I'm like, it's not that bad. Granted, it's not like the East Coast, and it's even more spread out where you guys are. So to do a weekend run's a little rough sometimes to some spots, but make it happen.
yeah.
So,
No, for real. I mean, like the weekend run for us is like I sent it to you, right? It's coming out of California and it's going to um, Vegas, Utah, up to Idaho, and then you can always cross over, catch like Sacramento, and then like on your way down. Like it seems like that's a pretty solid loop that a lot of bands have been doing.
Yep.
Or if they're heading up to the Pacific Northwest, it's up through Idaho. There's like the Coeur d'Alene shows, and then you head over, you hit the Washington, Oregon, and then back down. So
Yeah.
we got a couple of circles.
One of my friends in Idaho, their own shows over there too. So there's shows everywhere. I'm so stoked everything's coming back because it died for a while. It was hard to book and get to places. And it's like now it's like, okay, you can find bands on TikTok, Instagram. You can just show up and see what merch people are wearing at random local shows and just find all kinds of new stuff. It's wild.
So let me ask you this, because one of the things that we're starting to see here in like Utah is there seems to be like 4 or 5 guys who are in like 7 different bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They play like different variants of the same group, and then maybe 1 or 2 other people starting to come through. How do
Yep.
you feel about like spreading it as opposed to just focus on like your one band, try to grow that and like see what happens?
So for me, I was in like 4 bands at one time, and I was playing bass in one, guitar in two, and singing in one. And I was like, I'm just stretching myself too thin. I was so busy with everything, I couldn't do anything with any of them. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to chill out and only do like 2 things. Because I still really love playing guitar. That's like my first instrument that I learned. And like I'm a tone snob, so I'll sit there and get pedals and just tweak everything until I'm just like super ecstatic with the tone and then tell everybody about it and they just don't even care. So it's great. I want to
Sure.
do and just write like riffs I love that I don't see other people playing. So I get to do that in Arcline, and then I get to sing in Slumpt. So I got the best of both worlds. I couldn't give both of them up for one. I
Sure.
couldn't be a singer or a guitar player. I have to be able to do both, is what I figured out. And then I've started playing drums, and I'm severely trying not to join a band as a drummer, just so I'm just not.
I gotcha. I gotcha. It's interesting because there are some of these guys who are super successful in doing all of it, right? Like you listen to the Koyo boys and they were like, yeah, we started like 5 projects at once just to see what would hit. And
Yeah.
Koyo happened to be the one that caught on. So there's
And
something about like, oh, go for it.
I was gonna say, and if you can pull it off, like more power to you. It seems to be like all the younger guys in the scene are the ones doing that. Like the big ass truck dudes are in God Awful. They're one of the dudes is in Monos de Fiero. He's in like 4 other bands. It's crazy how many bands they can actually juggle and still make it work. To where I'm like, dude, I work full time. I've got a fiance, like I got all kinds of stuff going on. I record bands, like there's a whole lot going on. Plus Ceasefire booking shows, like I can't be in 4 or 5 bands. So, but props to the ones who can, as long as it
Dude, it's
doesn't,
crazy.
you know.
Exactly, dude. It's wild to me. So, but I mean, good music's coming out because of it, right?
Yep,
There's a lot of collaboration happening, and
yep,
you got the Garris boys who knocked loose and Gates to Hell, and then they do Weapon X, and it's really cool seeing like just the different styles that comes through all of it too. Like it's fun. It's
yeah,
fun for a minute. So, but well, you mentioned fiance. When's the wedding?
dude, I'm so terrible, man. I'm just trying to save money. Europe trip. I'm like that makes it very difficult. But honestly, it's probably going to be not next year, but the year after.
Okay.
We've been here forever, like almost 20 years now. So we've just been hanging out. Like a wedding is just a big celebration, basically. Like we've been together forever. So that's not what makes us us. But
Oh, for sure.
she deserves a cool party. So I'm just waiting until I can afford the one she deserves, you know?
There you go. Is she going out to Europe with you?
Yeah. Yep. She's rolling with us the whole trip. And then we booked a couple days after just to go explore Europe because got to play a show every night. So we got work, but play all day afterwards. And it's Oktoberfest in Germany. So it's going to be ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Imagine how it's going to be. I'm so stoked to find out.
That's wild. That's going to be a cool time. So stoked for you on that. Well, just a couple last questions here. Just like what's next for Slumped?
We're doing a full length, so we're gonna chill out after these next couple shows. We're playing with the Canadian dudes and get the shot at Chain Reaction once we come back from Europe. So that's gonna be pretty wild. Kind Eyes is on the show too. So Murphy's on an Arcline track. There's your little guest drop for you. But
Okay.
super cool, man. I can't wait to see those dudes and play with Get the Shot at Chain. And then we got a couple more weekend runs before the year's over, but we're going to focus on getting a full length out.
So why full length as opposed to an EP?
Because I'm old school and I really enjoy listening to full length albums. Like everything from beginning to end. I love when bands put in like skits and make it a full production. It's not just music. I want it to be like a listening experience, something I really won't get live. And then I want to go experience what you do live.
Dude, I love that. I mean, obviously, I told you, our heyday was the 2005s to 2010 range kind of thing. So albums front to back were our jam.
Yep.
Uh, we oftentimes I like think back on Under Oath, like Define the Great Line, and them taking all of the production from the album and taking it into the live setting. Like I remember watching the Define the Great Line show when all the lights turned off and all of a sudden you hear the clicking of the reel just right before in regards to myself. And then all of a sudden you just see like all of them come on, lights come on, crowd goes wild. That stuff is fun.
Yep. I seen him play that over here in Hollywood, and they had the projector rolling, and they had the screen pop on right at the same time, and the whole crowd just goes wild. It's the best, man. It's just the little extra touches, like write some songs, but have some thoughts, do some concepts. Like let's make it a listening experience, you know?
Dude, that's awesome. We've had this debate a lot because our other host, Kyle, he's a
Mm-hmm.
big album guy. He's
Yep.
like, I'd rather have 12 to 14 songs and listen front to back and stuff. I'm like, I agree with you if you're on the consistent release schedule of like every 18 months to 2 years or something like that.
Yep.
But if you give me 12 to 14 songs and you play those same 12 to 14 songs for the next 4 years, I'm going to get bored with you.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So
So,
we're just gonna pump out a full length just because it's what I always like doing. Like I did it with my old band, Set Your Anchor, and it
yeah.
was cool because we had like an EP, a full length, and we had a whole new EP that we didn't release. So we had songs to choose from every time we toured. So we didn't have to play the same set. We got to switch out songs and do whatever we want to and mix it up. So I want to be able to have that option again. Have a ton of songs just to choose from, or run a whole album and just do like a headliner set.
Do you think you'll ever run a set your anchor show?
I've had members come up to me, and I have definitely said no. I'm good.
I gotcha. Just
Yeah,
phase of life
it's
or
I don't know. It's I put that in my past. Like some of the dudes, like I don't even talk to, and the ones that I do don't even play music, or if they do, they're
mm,
just not interested at all. And when they approached me, they wanted me to do just guitar and do like the For the Hopeless EP, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I was like, that to me, that was like the beginning stages.
uh,
And if I wanted to do it, I would do the full length. And because that's when I was a vocalist and we did most of our work. And that's what I enjoyed doing the most. But even then, I still don't think I would do it because it wouldn't be like it was back then. You know, circumstance quite a bit with some people, so things have happened. And I feel like I've progressed too musically.
I gotcha. Well, listen, man. Like, I enjoyed Set Your Anchor. Like, I am a sucker. We're both suckers, Kyle and I, for melodic hardcore. So that was awesome. But what you're doing with Slumped right now, like, I'm pumped for a full length. So I'm really excited to see what you guys put out with this one.
Well, there's definitely some melodic hardcore tracks that haven't got released, so it's still a mix of stuff. You'll see some old flair too. I didn't leave it alone.
Okay. 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 Well, listen, man, you got to make it out to Utah. Let me know when you make your way out this way. We'll hook up. We'll get you guys a solid show. We'll get you guys a good outing, something like that. But I really do appreciate you taking, the time with me and bailing me out when I got abandoned by my other co-host.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad that we got to talk and got to finally meet and got to talk and do this whole show. But if you ever have a band that needs a show out here, let me know. Like from like San Diego all the way up the coast, like we can book pretty much anywhere.
Sweet.
So they need help, reach out. We got them, and then we'll hit you up hopefully before January and get out your way.
Dude, let us know. That would be super sick. I know we have one band headed out there in the next couple months. We have Snuff Tape, who's going to be
Oh
out
yeah,
that way.
yeah, yeah. We know those dudes and book them quite often.
Yeah. So they'll be out that way. I know that Johnny Baseball just did a run out there. Um, so I think there's a few bands who are going to start making their way out to Cali. So I'll make sure to give them your info. So
Cool. Well, I appreciate you, man. Nice meeting you.
you as well. Thanks, man. Peace.